You have heard of convolutional neural networks but don't know where to start? Well, this is the right video for you. So in this video, you are going to learn a basic convolutional neural network that helps you classify digits. You are going to look at the conceptualization of a convolutional neural network, and you are going to also learn to implement it using TensorFlow. Each and every single line of code will be explained very clearly. So stick to the very end of this video, because at the end of the video, you will be able to prepare a convolutional neural network by yourself. So let us get started. And you definitely don't want to miss out on such type of content. So please subscribe to my channel, because after you subscribe, you are going to get updates accordingly if you click on the bell icon. So please do that. Now let us get started with the today's video. So what is convolutional neural networks? Okay, you might have heard it everywhere, okay? And whenever we speak of deep learning, it is like one of the most important chapters in it. So let us now understand what is a convolutional neural network. Well, a convolutional neural network uses a set of images to extract the parameters. So far now in the earlier videos, if you might have followed this playlist, okay, so this video tutorial is the third video in the playlist of deep learning for rookie developers. That is the playlist on my channel, okay? So you can find the link in the description box below, and apart from that, the code for this tutorial and the presentation, you are also going to find it in the description box below. So deep learning over the period of time has become very mature, and image processing is one of the most important tasks that can be brought into picture. A standard deep neural network extracts the features using the numbers. But what if you can extract such kind of features directly from an image? Okay, in earlier tutorials, we had a look at how we are using the numbers to extract the features. So we had the pixel values of 28 by 28 images of digits, handwritten digits. So today I want to show you a technique that can help you extract from an image. Obviously in this tutorial we are going to look at MNIST itself, but the concept is the network will be able to pick up the data, the features from a real image. Okay, so this tutorial is for the conceptualization, and in upcoming tutorials you are going to definitely learn a lot about those things where we are going to apply many applications. So starting with, what is convolution? Convolution is a standard procedure where you have an input image. So the numbers resemble the pixel values. Definitely the pixel values are between 0 to 255, but we are considering just the basic samples that are not much real world, just for our conceptualization. So here I want to tell you that, assuming the fact this is an image, because whenever we have the numerical values can be taken as an input for the deep neural network. But what if you can directly feed it an image and it will be able to generate the pixel values from it? Okay, you don't have to specifically extract the pixel values in order to feed to the network. Okay, so the convolutional neural network is the process of the convolution is going to do it by itself. So assuming the example for our conceptualization, this is a 5 by 5 matrix. You have to use something known as filters. Now question might arise, what is filters? So filters are anything that are going to help you to extract the features from an image, because whenever even we see an image, our brain processes a significant amount of patterns which help us determine what are the features of the image. Similarly, these filters, also known as kernels, help us extract features from an image. So these are an important aspect in the process of the convolution. So these filters or kernels or feature detectors, so those are the conventions that are given, help us to get the extracted information. So this extracted information are basically the activation weights which are carry forwarded. So just like a standard neural network, the convolutional neural networks also extract a very great deal of information from an image. So it is going to consider all the pixel values directly without you to extract it. What are these filters useful for? Okay, so assuming the image on the left, so I got it from an article in the Toad Data Science. Okay, I'm giving the source. Okay, so the image that you see on the left, we have to extract the features from it. So a neural network learns from all of the features that you feed it, all right, because it is resembling a human brain. So the human brain obviously works on the edges. Okay, so we determine a feature based on its structure. So similarly, the convolutional neural network is going to use filters. So these filters can extract the information in the form of the horizontal lines, vertical lines, and many other things. So the image that you see over here, we have, all right, so whenever a filter is applied, edge detection has been done. So basically the actress that you see, her features are extracted in an ordinal fashion using the filters. So these filters are a set of numbers or matrix. Okay, so I'm using a 5 by 5 matrix where I'm applying a 3 by 3 filter, which is actually at the end giving me 3 by 3 convolved image. So what is now convolved image? Okay, now that might be one of the other questions that might arise in your mind. So a convolved image is the image where we apply the filters at first and the features are extracted from those images. Okay, so that image basically gets synthesized using those filters, and that information that we have is the data that we are going to feed it to our convolutional neural network. So let us assume how these things really work. Okay, so in this tutorial you are going to learn every single aspect that you can come across with the convolutional neural network. Obviously there are many things, but the basics that you require in order to get started with the CNN will be covered in this tutorial. Don't worry. So let us assume that this is an image where I'm applying a filter. So filters are of many type. Okay, there are horizontal filters, vertical filters, Sobel filters, and many filters. So these filters have similar tasks. Okay, they help the user to extract the features from the images. So applying the filter, the process of the convolution works something like this. Okay, so that 3 by 3 filter is going to be applied onto that 5 by 5 image, and it is going to extract the features. Okay, I'll definitely go into the basic math. Okay, it is a very basic math, it is not something I would say rocket science. All right, it is very easy. So that filter will be continuously moved on pixel by pixel. All right, so 5 by 5 image, that 3 by 3 filter will be moved over and we are going to get the values. So the 9 value that you see in the corner on the left hand of the 5 by 5 image basically is multiplied by -1 on the filter, and an output will be generated which will be added with the other output. So that is the way a process of convolution happens. I'll obviously show you the math. Okay, so assuming the fact, so -9, then we have 0 because 0 into 7, so 0 is the second image on the first row. Okay, so second column, first row, which will be convolved with the second row, the first row and second column of the 5 by 5 image. Similarly these things happen, and at the end all of this information is basically added and we have the number of the convolved image. Similarly the filter takes strides. So what is strides? Okay, so stride is basically a movement made by the filter pixel by pixel. Okay, so the 1 pixel shift that happens is basically 1 stride. So that stride is going to force the filter to move pixel by pixel, and similarly each and every single value will be extracted. All right, and this is the math. Okay, so what is happening over here is the -1 will be multiplied by the 7 just because it is the first row second column value, and similarly because we are already done with all of the first column and first 3 rows values. All right, and similarly the filter is going to go and grab all the values, and this is a kind of animation that I found from the following source I have posted below. So it is a great intuition. So great intuition can be acquired from this graphics. So the process that you are seeing over here is basically going to use that filter to extract the features, and it is going to take it pixel by pixel. That is convolution. Okay, so that is convolution, and after that the neural networks is basically we are going to feed that convolution to the neural network. Okay, so this is convolution neural network. So instead of taking numerical values, we are actually taking the information, extracting the information from the image. Okay, directly, you don't have to feed it numerical values. So for conceptualization basis, this is a very great form of image, I would say, for sure. All right, so this is a standard example that I'm getting. So 5 by 5 matrix when applied by 3 by 3 filter, and these are the convolved image values. Okay, so which are 3 by 3. So question might arise that, okay, if 5 by 5 image has been applied with a 3 by 3 filter, why am I really getting a 3 by 3 convolved image? Okay, so keeping aside the math, let us assume that if you are working with a huge amount of image and you have to apply some filters, how you are actually going to figure out this? So there is a standard formula for this. Okay, so convolved image dimensions basically are equal to dimension of the image. So dimension of the image is the input image. So in our case it is 5 minus the size of the filter. So our filter over here is 3 by 3, which is the 3, and we divide that entirely with the strides. Okay, so the strides can be 2 sometimes, strides can be 3 sometimes, but we have strides is equal to 1. So basically at every step our filter is going to take 1 stride, that is a 1 pixel step, in order to move the filter so that it works on all of the matrix, and finally we add 1 to it. So an estimate can be taken like this. Say the convolved image dimensions is equal to 5 minus 3. So 5 is the matrix size, minus 3, which is the size of the filter, divided by 1 plus 1, which is equal to 3. Similarly, this can be applied for all of the images. Okay, so let us assume that you have a 6 by 6 image and you are applying a 3 by 3 filter. We are going to get a 4 by 4 convolved image. Okay, so this math carry forwards everywhere, and it is going to help you determine the size of the convolved image right before the computer has synthesized it. Okay, so if you have an estimate of these things, it is very good for you. So now this process is actually being done with the help of the code, and then we will come back to the conceptualization. Now considering the code, so this is a basic code. Okay, so there is something different. Okay, we are using MNIST itself, so that was the data set of 28 by 28, 70,000 images in total, and we have already worked with it. Okay, so once again I'll go through the lines of the code for all of the users who are new to this series. So I'm importing TensorFlow. After that I am using a variable name as MNIST, which is equal to tf.keras.dataset.mnist. So basically the dataset MNIST is already present with the TensorFlow Keras. After that we are making the training images and training labels, and testing images and testing labels, and I am loading the data from it. Okay, so everything is already arranged, you don't have to pre-process it explicitly. After that I am reshaping it, because since these are the numerical values, I want them in the shape of 28 by 28 appropriately in the first place itself. Okay, so 60,000 is the size of my input images, and I am taking it as 28 by 28 image, and after that I am applying 1. So 1 is for the grayscale image. All right, so these are all the grayscale images. After that I am taking the training images, and then I am dividing them by 255, just because these are just the pixel values. I could have actually skipped that, but I have just kept it so that our network quite performs better. Similarly, I went with the testing images. So testing images, I am reshaping them. So those are 10,000 images we are using for the testing, where these are also 28 by 28 with the grayscale, and apart from that I am also dividing them by 255. So if you aren't aware of this and you would like to have some notion of this, you can definitely check the earlier 2 tutorials that I've prepared. Okay, so those are about the basic of the neural network. If you don't know the basics of the deep neural networks, you can definitely check those tutorials, where I've covered about the MNIST and also about how do you move on by making your own neural network. Okay, so those are some basic tutorials which are going to guide you in order to make a neural network. Okay, so first tutorial is also fine, okay, because second one is about improving the accuracy, and then now we are coming to the convolutional neural network, because I expect that you have some little bit of knowledge about the deep learning, so that we can proceed very easily. Otherwise I will have to cover all of the basics that I've already done in those videos. Okay, so we have the videos, please go check it. Okay, you can find the link in the description box below. I'll also try to link a card. All right, so that was the code I used for importing the data. Now let us start by making our first convolutional layer. All right, so that is one of the most important steps when it comes to making a convolutional neural network. So let us get started. So here I'll say model is equal to, then I'll say tf.keras.models.sequential. Okay, so a question might arise, what is sequential model? Well, a sequential model is one that is a feed forward. Okay, so it moves in a sequence layer by layer. So now we have to make our first layer, which is tf.keras.layers.conv2d. okay, conv2d. okay, that is the name of it. So this is the convolutional layer that is going to take your input images, and then it is going to apply convolutions on it. Okay, so you have to specify the number of the filters and the size of the filter. All right, so those are some of the things that are required in order to gain the information. But right before we do that, I would like to cover a little bit of intuition behind this. Okay, so right before we move on with the bigger picture, I want to show you what is padding. Okay, so padding is one of the concepts that is very important when it comes to convolutional neural networks. So this is a basic concept that we will go through. So let us assume that this is the image that I have in the okay, so this is the image, okay, and I have a feature in the left corner. So I apply a filter, a standard 3x3 filter on this 5x5 image. But what happens when the filter starts taking strides? All right, so a particular pixel, so assuming let's say this pixel, all right, I'm not able to color it, all right, so but this is the pixel. So let us assume that on this pixel, when the filter moves, okay, so when filter is over here, I have this pixel covered, okay, so I am going to extract the feature from it. But when this kernel is going to move over here, this filter, okay, filter or kernel, whatever you might call it, it is again going to come into consideration. Apart from that, when the filter moves over here, okay, so when this area becomes blue, again this pixel is going to come into consideration, but this pixel in the corner has been left behind. Okay, so if there is a feature of an image, let's say we are detecting let's say a set of dogs or cats, all right, and in the corner of the image I have an image of a dog, okay, but it is not able to extract the feature appropriately from that. At that point of time, it is going to be an issue. So there is a concept known as padding, where I'm applying a 0 pixeled pad over the image. So that actually helps me cover every single aspect. So let's say this was the corner pixel that I wanted to cover. So after applying pad, the filter is going to move accordingly, and after that I'll be covering this pixel over and over again as the filter moves on. Okay, so that is one of the techniques which is very important. Definitely in today's example we are not going to use it, but if you want you can use it. And this is the math. Okay, so the dimensions definitely change. Okay, so the dimension of the image minus the size of the filter plus 2 into padding. Okay, so 2 into padding. So since there are two sides of one pad that we apply, so let's say you apply padding as equal to 1, at that point of time it is going to consider 2 because you have two sides. Okay, and after that the math is always same. Okay, so strides is dividing the entire thing and we add by 1. Okay, so now let us look padding into a depth in order to figure out the math behind it. So let us say this is a 5x5 image where I apply 1 padding, and this is the feature that I'm trying to extract. So when the filter moves, this particular pixel is going to come into picture once again. Now let us look. So like I said, there are a set of filters. Okay, so in this image, the image that you are seeing over here, so this is a 5x5 image where I'm applying 1 pad and there are 2 filters. Okay, so why 2 filters? Okay, so there are a million filters, like not million literally, but I'm saying it metaphorically. The filters are actually used to extract features. Okay, so some filters might extract horizontal images, some filters might extract vertical images, okay, vertical edges, horizontal edges. Okay, so you need all of these filters. Okay, and these are decided by the convolution layer itself. So this is the math we are trying to figure out. So this is the filter that is being generated. Okay, so convolved image, so my raw image, my input image is 5x5, my filter size is 3x3. Okay, so 3 plus 2 into 1. Why? Because 2 sides for 1 pad, because there is only 1 padding, divided by 1 because I'm taking 1 strides at a time, plus 1, which is equal to 5. So the convolved image that we get after applying the padding is 5x5 image. Okay, so 5x5, and these are stacked together. Okay, so these 5x5 images are stacked together as the input for the next layer of the convolutional neural networks. So this is a great animation which is going to help you conceptualize about the thing. Okay, I have posted the source below. So I've taken it from the Towards Data Science. I actually found this article very interesting. Okay, and this was very good. So assuming that there are a set of RGB images where we have 3 filters and they are going to extract the information accordingly to every single one of them, and then this information will be added together to form one stack of the convolved images. So there is a lot of math if you would like to conceptualize it, because as the number of the filters are going to increase, the complexity of the algorithm is also going to increase. So what we are going to do is, at the moment we are not going to figure out a lot of math. Okay, definitely we will be covering in the consecutive videos in the near future, but in this video my goal is to help you conceptualize convolutional neural networks in depth. Okay, so right before we dive into the implementation, the one thing that I would like to talk about right now as there are number of filters, let's say 30 filters, 40 filters, 50 filters, those are going to be stacked in a similar fashion. Okay, so that convolved image will be stacked with that number of filters. Okay, so now you see the complexity is slowly increasing. Now let us look ahead. So now let us try to figure out this. Okay, so I'm feeding it a 5x5 image where I'll be applying 3x3 two filters. Okay, so let us say the blue filter that you see over here is for horizontal edge detection, and this one is for vertical edge detection. So then I get two consecutive 3x3 convolved images. Why? We have to figure out the math. Okay, so 5 minus 3 by divided by 1, that is my stride, plus 1. Okay, we don't have padding over here, so I'm skipping the padding. So 2 into 0 is 0. So that doesn't matter a lot. After that, these two convolved images will be stacked together. So basically the dimension that you see, so 5 by 5 into 1 is for the grayscale image. All right, it is for the grayscale image, and when the filters are applied, this dimension is going to change. So as the image convolves and there is a reduction in the size of the convolution image, the dimension is also going to increase with the respect of the filters. Okay, so the number of the filter, as the number of those are actually even considered, as number of channels. Okay, so many people try to consider it as number of channels. Okay, so as the depth of those channels increase, it is completely on the basis of the number of the filters. Okay, so as the number of the filters are there, the convolved images will be stacked together. Okay, so height of the image into width of the image into channels of the image. Okay, so 5 into 5 into 1, that is for grayscale. 3 into 3 into 2, why 2? Because we have two filters. 3 into 3 into 2, after the convolution there are two particular convolved images that we get with the respect of the filters. So one will be for vertical edge detection, one will be from horizontal edge detection, and after that those will be stacked together. So 3 into 3 by 2. Okay, so that is the dimension that I get after the convolution of 5 by 5 image, that is grayscale. Similarly, this can be extended for the RGB also. Okay, so in this example, we are going to look at a grayscale image, that is the MNIST, but in the near future, or even if you're trying with the CNN, you might come across a lot of RGB images. Okay, so not necessarily you will be working with the grayscale images, you will also work with the colorful images. So RGB stands for red, green and blue. Those are the color codes or the color schemes given by the people. So these RGB images also have 3 dimensions. So those filters are going to apply accordingly. Let's see how it works. So let us assume that there is a 7 by 7 image which has 3 channels. So 3 channels are RGB, that is red, green and blue. So these channels are extracted. After that, the convolution, so let's say again I'm applying a 3 by 3 horizontal and vertical filter. Okay, so these are 2 filters, these will be stacked. Okay, so figuring the math, the math was the number of the filters minus the dimensions of the input image minus the dimensions of the filter divided by the strides, so plus 1. So that gives me a 5 by 5 image. Okay, so 7 minus 3 is 4 plus 1 gives me 5. Okay, so 5 by 5, and I have a stacked image of the convolution. So these are the 2 consecutive convolutions that I have in the image. Okay, so this is how the RGB images work in particular fashion. Now let us start working with our neural network, so that is the MNIST. All right, so let us now write some code. Okay, so because I don't want you to bore with a lot of the math or the information and the conceptualization itself, we will now have a look at the code also. Okay, so I'll try to explain the lines of the code as we proceed further. So now here I'm specifying 64. So the filters that I'm using are 64. Okay, so just like there are horizontal or vertical, there might be a lot of filters. Okay, so a standard way of determining filters. Okay, so you can put it the way you want. You can put 32 filters, you can put 128 filters. Okay, so there are a lot of filters. So I am applying 64 filters. After that, you have to specify the size of the filter. So I'll say 3 by 3. Okay, so that is the size of my filter that I'm specifying. After that, you will have to apply an activation function. All right, so now here comes the real deal. Okay, so there is an activation function. Now why? Because after the image is convolved, I want it to be in a particular standard. Okay, so I don't want because after convolution it might happen that some pixel values might go into negative. So because since the process of the convolution is basically extracting feature and feeding it to the neural network. Okay, so it works as a standard neural network in the backend, but the feature extraction procedure is quite different since it is not numerical and it is directly extracting from the images. Okay, so we want to consider that, so we have to apply an activation. So the activation that I'll be applying, activation will be ReLU. Okay, so I have talked about ReLU in the last tutorial itself. So it is rectified linear unit. And after our activation function, one more parameter that I'm going to give it is the input shape. Okay, so now what is my input shape? So our images are 28 by 28. And what are the channels? So it is 1. Why? Because it is a grayscale image. All right, it is a grayscale image. So is this really sufficient? Okay, so we have made a one convolutional layer that is around like 64 filters. All right, and after 64 filters we have like the size of each and every single filter is 3 by 3. So over the 28 by 28 image, it is going to take strides of like 3 by 3, and it is going to move and extract the features from all of the given 60,000 training images. All right, and this is the first convolution layer that you have made. But is this really sufficient? Not at all. Okay, so how to proceed further? Now let us look at it. See, I could have actually taught you the bigger picture of the convolutional neural network, but I didn't wanted you to bombard with the information. Okay, so we will be learning in a particular fashion where we move step by step. Okay, we don't have to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture you will be getting at the end of the video will be very useful, because that is going to build a basic, and in the next videos we will be trying to improve that insight. Okay, that conceptualization that you have done from this particular video. So well, how we proceed further? So after the convolution there is something known as max pooling. All right, so the convolution is not necessarily sufficient, we need something known as max pool. So what is max pool? Okay, so max pool is used for reducing the dimension of the convolved image. Okay, so not always the dimension of the convolved image is going to be very small. Okay, we have to reduce it as much as we can so that it indicates the way we have learned. And in this video we are only looking at one convolution layer. Okay, so one learning, like the one layer one. Okay, the entire process. So one convolution 2D layer and one max pooling layer. Okay, so one convolution and one max pool layer together. Okay, so together give us the entire layer. Okay, so that is the one layer of the convolutional neural network. All right, so max pooling, what it does is it is going to take a matrix and it is going to extract the greatest values. Okay, so if you see in this image, this 4x4 image, this 2x2 matrix is going to move and it is going to pick the highest numbers. Okay, so from the red it is picking 20. Then I'm using strides is equal to 2. All right, strides is equal to 2. So then after that this max pool is going to come over here, it is going to pick 30. Then it is going to go over here, then it is going to pick the highest pixel value. Okay, so 112. So why highest pixel value? That might be one of the questions. Well, highest pixel values basically give us more number of extracted features, and these features are then fed to the standard neural network. All right, so the dimensions will be reduced, since after the max pool the dimension is going to get reducted. So the dimensions after max pooling, the math is also same. Okay, so dimension of the image minus the size of the filter plus 2 into pad by strides plus 1. That is exactly the math that we use in order to figure out. Okay, so assuming the fact this is a 4x4 image where we apply 2x2 pool. Okay, so let us calculate. Okay, so dimension of the image is 4 minus 2. Okay, we get 2. So 2 is basically the size of the filter. So minus 2 plus 0 divided by 1 plus 1. So we have the end image as 3 by 3. So after max pooling, there is a dimensionality reduction of 4x4 image, 4x4 convolved image into 3x3 image. Okay, so no parameters are learned. Okay, I repeat again, no parameters are learned in this layer. All right, but one convolutional 2D layer and one max pool layer together comprise of one convolutional neural network layer. All right, so that is layer 1. So now let us try to apply our max pool in 2D layer. Alright, so the max pool that we have learned in our video right now, we will now try to apply it in our neural network. So after con 2D, what you will have to do is, so now I'll call my max pool. Okay, so tf dot keras dot layers max pool. Okay, so that is the name of it. Okay, so max pool 2D. And after that, here you will have to specify your dimensions. So I'll say 2 by 2. That is it. Okay, so this is the way you are going to do the max pool. But is this necessary? Okay, so after max pooling, our dimensions are going to get reduced. But now we have to make an entire neural network. Okay, so how do you think that you are going to feed it an image and it is going to yield an output? Okay, so after some certain number of layers, this works as a standard neural network. All right, so for that, at the end, in order to get a prediction, we will have to use the standard procedures that we are doing. So one of those procedure is flattening and then feeding it to the number of the consecutive layers. Now let me show you the picture that I have constructed for our this example. Okay, so the main big picture. All right, so here we are. So far now you were actually looking at the way the convolutions work and the way the max pool works. So that was the one complete stack layer that is going to extract the features from our convolutional neural network in order to feed it to our neural network. Okay, so now it is time to look at the bigger picture. Okay, so how really the CNN works. Let us have a look at that. Okay, so this is the image that I have created from draw.io. Similarly, the animation that you are seeing, so that is from the NNSVG. Okay, so that is a great example. Okay, so you can also try it. Okay, so NNSVG, that is the name of the website. Okay, you can just Google NNSVG and you can have it. Okay, you can make great deal of animations over there. Okay, so this is the website NNSVG where Alex Lenel, okay, I hope the pronunciation is correct. Okay, so he has made this, and here you can make a standard neural network. Similarly, you have a layered architecture style where you have to specify the number of the filters, the layers and everything, and you have the standard AlexNet style also. Okay, so where the one that I'm using in this tutorial. All right, so this is a standard where you will have to specify the number of the filters, the image size and everything, and we have it. Okay, so this is the way it looks. All right, really cool site, I would say. So coming back to our neural network that we are going to construct in this particular video. So here I'll be feeding it a 28 by 28 grayscale, that is one input image. So there I have used 64 filters like you have seen for our con 2D layer, where these filters are 3 by 3 in size. So after that, the stacking that will be done, so the dimension will be reduced. Okay, so 28 minus 3 which is 25 divided by stride is 1, and I have not used the padding, plus 1. Okay, so I get 26 by 26 into 64 because these 64 layers are stacked together. Okay, so these are actually 64 numbers of layers. I have actually counted them, okay, in this image. And after that, I'm applying a max pool layer, which is 2 by 2, which will also again use the same math. So 26 minus 2, so 26 minus, so right before we do that, I'm actually by default the TF over here is applying the stride as 2. All right, so that stride will be again converged, and we will have 13 by 13 into 64. That is the dimension reduction that has done. Okay, so no parameters are actually learned by the network over here. And as you can see over here, conv layer, so the convolutional neural network layer, one layer, this is actually one layer. All right, so one con 2D and one max pool together gives us one conv layer. So after that, we have to flatten this. All right, so 13 into 13 into 64, that is the output that we get from our max pool 2D. So we will have to then flatten it like we do for our standard neural network. So that is going to stack them into neurons. Okay, so these are I'm sorry, not 1000, these are 10,816 activation neurons. Well, what is the math? Okay, so 13 into 13 into 64. All right, so these are the number of the activation neurons. Okay, definitely I cannot draw like 10,000 over here. Okay, I tried to draw 64 filters, but drawing 10,000 activation neurons is nearly impossible. So but this is the math, like this is the image that I wanted you to conceptualize. Okay, so 10,816 activation neurons, and then I'm going to use a standard dense net where I'm going to give it 128 neurons, and at the end we will have 10 activation neurons for our output layer. Well, why 10? You know it. Okay, we are going to classify digits, so digits lie from 0 to 9. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so one of them is going to get us the probability that is desired. This is like the bigger picture of our entire neural network. Okay, so we have the convolution layer, we have the max pool. Now we are going to flatten it. Okay, in order, that is the reason multiple convolutional layers are applied in order to reduce the dimension, so that those activation neurons are very less. All right, so more form of parameters will be also learned in the meantime, but in this example we are considering only one layer network. Okay, we are not moving in much depth. Definitely in the next upcoming tutorial we are going to cover it. Okay, don't worry. I'll also even show you how you can improve the accuracy and some underlying math behind the parameters. All right, that we are going to cover in the next tutorial. So next tutorial is definitely going to depend on this one, so please pay attention over here. Now let us try to flatten this. So right after you applied the con2d and then we have applied the max pool, we have to say tf.keras.layers, and then I'm going to say over here is flatten. Okay, so flatten is going to, you know, make that massive convolution into a chain of a vector of neurons. Okay, so these are all the activation neurons that will be carried forwarded from the max pool to the convolution layer. And like I said, the next layer is tf.keras. Okay, so keras.layers dot dense. Okay, and these are 128. Okay, so 128 neurons now I'm going to use. Okay, so these are standardized. Okay, you can use the way you want. And activation again I am going to use is ReLU. And after that, the final, my output layer that we have is tf.keras.layers dot dense. It is going to be 10. All right, 10, and activation over here is going to be softmax. Okay, so I've already discussed all of these terms in the last tutorials itself. Okay, so you can check the first tutorial. Okay, so not even second, you can only check the first tutorial. There you will have an intuition of what is really ReLU, what is really softmax. All right, that is the reason I say that try to have a little bit of understanding of the deep neural networks in the first place, so that you can proceed with the convolutional neural networks. Okay, so not necessarily you will have to learn deep learning, but it is better that you learn. Okay, so if you have a set of let's say these parameters, it is better you know everything. Okay, and now let us try to run this, and we have it. Now let us check at the summary of it. So I'll say model.summary, and as you can see we have a con layer. So first of all I gave the input which was 28 by 28. All right, and then it was converged to 26 by 26. We have figured out the math. All right, then our max pool layer also is using strides of 2, and we have 13 over here. And after that I'm flattening it. All right, I'm flattening the layer. So after flattening I'll be having 10,816 parameters. Okay, so 13 into 13 into 64, that is the equation. So no parameters are actually learned. Okay, so these parameters, how do I really get it? Okay, we are going to cover this in the next tutorial, because I don't again want to bombard you with a lot of math. Then I am applying a dense layer of 128 neurons, and then one more dense layer which is the output layer of 10 neurons. Okay, so this is going to yield me the predictions with the softmax activation function. Now the next step you are completely aware of is we have to compile it. So compile, and now my loss is going to be let's say categorical cross entropy. And after that I'll have to use the optimizer. Okay, so all of these terms again I am saying I have covered in the last tutorials. Okay, so please do check the last tutorials if you don't know. cannot spare a lot of time on explaining these concepts over and over again, because that is going to increase the length of the video. So you have to please check the previous tutorials. So optimizer I'm using is stochastic gradient descent, and after that matrix I'll be using is accuracy. And we are done. Okay, so we have compiled our model successfully. Now next step is training as usual. Okay, so now we will have to train our model, and for this video I'll actually use only 5 epochs. Okay, I don't want it to like use a lot of epochs. Okay, we will see to it in the next tutorials, okay, where I'll try to increase the accuracy while understanding the parameters of the CNN. Okay, so now let us move on with the training procedure. So I'll say model dot fit. Okay, and here the parameters are, so first is my input, so that is training data, so training images, and after that I have training labels, and I have epochs. So epoch is I would say a iteration that is going to perform a feed forward. Like in the feed forward neural network, it is going to start its approach with a forward propagation and a backward propagation. Okay, so that one entire cycle is known as an epoch. So let me give it 5 epochs, and now let us run it. All right, we have an error. Let's see the error. Okay, so epochs is equal to 5. Okay, so I had actually forgot the sparse. Okay, it was sparse categorical cross entropy. I actually gave it only categorical cross entropy. Now let me just fast forward the video. All right, we have finally finished with our training. All right, so it took quite a while, so I actually skipped the video. Now, the last thing that I want to cover is testing the loss. Okay, so we can actually evaluate the loss. So I'll say model dot evaluate, and the parameters it is going to take is testing images this time. Okay, so it is going to take testing images and testing labels. And we have it. Okay, so it says 96.98, so that is very good. All right, so you have actually came across a standard convolutional neural network where we are covering the basics of the CNN. So you are actually being able to conceptualize a CNN, a complete convolutional neural network, and apart from that you have also seen its code implementation. Okay, that is in the TensorFlow that we are doing. So I hope this video has helped you gain something or the other, and in the next upcoming video you are going to learn how to trace the parameters. Okay, so we are going to track the parameter, the math behind it. So how do these parameters really are calculated, and apart from that I'll also try to increase some convolutional and max pool layers. Okay, so in order to increase the accuracy of our network. So that is the goal behind it, and I hope you might have learned something or the other. Okay, so you don't really want to miss the upcoming videos. All right, so it is very important, so you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so if you subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon, you are not going to miss any of the updates that I'll be posting on my channel. Okay, so apart from the tutorials I also do podcasts. Okay, so you can check those also. Okay, so I conduct podcasts with the working professionals. Okay, so I'll try to even talk with some data scientists in the near future, but for now we are actually proceeding with this deep learning for rookie developers playlist. Okay, so the link to that playlist will be down in the description box. Apart from that, I'll also provide today's code and presentation in the GitHub. Okay, so you can actually have that source code link down in the description box as well. So if you have gained something or the other from this video, do like the video and share it with the others. So increase the knowledge and spread the knowledge. Okay, that is the message that I would like to give to everyone. Okay, so this is it for the today's video. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.